This is one of those topics where people do not feel comfortable talking about it. I don't want to be a cis woman. It's a very, very sensitive topic. However,
it's coming.
Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Melanie P podcast. I'm your host, Melanie P, and we're here to have a conversation, y'all. Listen, Jess Hilarious cannot keep herself out of the news. And honestly, if I had to guess, it might be intentional, child. So Jess Hilarious responds to backlash after being accused of making transphobic comments. My uterus is my superpower. Let's listen to this and then let's discuss.
But you do have to have some things ingrained in the way that you move about your day, period, to understand that the work never stops. So we just got to find that balance.
And for you, I want somebody who knows that women can have babies.
Oh, okay.
Only women can have babies. I just want to let you know that.
Interesting. There are other people who can have babies.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if they have a uterus, they can have babies. But they just might not identify as women.
Okay.
Those are two different things. Like, you can be biologically female, but you can't be biologically woman. Because woman is a gender construct. A social construct. So if you got a uterus, yeah, you can have a baby.
Yes, that's the point. If you have a uterus, you can have a baby.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we agree on that.
This message is for Jess Hilarious. Transphobia affects you too. Here's why. The Instagram comedian Jess Hilarious, who is currently serving as a co-host on the Breakfast Club radio show, is constantly throwing jabs at transgender people even when they are not the topic of discussion.
And for you, I want somebody who knows that women can have babies.
Oh, okay.
Only women can have babies. I just want to let you know that.
Interesting.
And this most recent incident isn't new. She's been doing this for years. And the reason is that she thinks transphobia will never affect her. But she's wrong. In June 2023, Michelle Dion Peacock, a 59-year-old black woman, was murdered by her neighbor Tommy Wayne Earl. Earl approached Michelle in broad daylight and slashed her throat open with a straight razor outside of her home. Earl told police he harbored a long-standing grudge against Michelle because, in his words, she was a, quote, male acting like a woman. He thought Michelle was transgender. She was not. This message is for Jess Hilarious. Transphobia affects you too.
Jess.
She was just an older black woman who didn't fit his definition of femininity. And guess what, Jess? Neither do you. What you don't understand is that the transphobia you help to spread and normalize will be used against you and women who look like you. Women who do not fit the Eurocentric, ultra-feminine expectation of what a woman should look like, act like, or sound like. So when the narrative that you help to push fully transform our society into a place where men can inspect our daughters' bodies because they suspect that they are transgender, because they are not seen as women enough, will you be proud of yourself?
This is a very, very loaded conversation. Now, listen, honey, listen. This is one of those topics where people do not feel comfortable talking about it because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. This is a topic where, honestly, people can be very ignorant to the terms, the terminology, ignorant to things that you may say that might be offensive to the LGBTQ plus community. I will say that I stand with the LGBTQ plus community. I love me a good LGBT plus community person, and it's a very, very sensitive topic. However, two things can be true at the same time. And I think one thing that the trans community have to be respectful of on that side of the fence is that Black women especially, their experiences with birth, their experience with being a woman, their experience with gender-based oppression is a very real thing. And I understand that plays a part on both sides. And listen, I'm not trans, I'm not gay, and I truly cannot speak for that community, but I can understand where Jess Hilarious is coming from. Now, he did say that Jess Hilarious has made comments in the past where they have been very transphobic. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think one thing, this is just off my spirit, off my discernment, I think that Jess Hilarious might be making these kind of comments because Jess Hilarious, she can teeter-totter on, if I saw Jess Hilarious, I'm not gonna lie, I would, if you told me that Jess Hilarious was a trans woman, I wouldn't question it. Like, I totally wouldn't question it, and that's no shade. And I think that this young man that posted this comment or posted this post, you know, educating us on transphobia and how those lines can be very blurred when it comes to women, you know, naturally born women versus trans women. Those lines can be very blurred. So I applaud this young man for Kevin Ortega Rojas for, you know, doing the education, putting the truth out there, because again, most people are very uncomfortable with this conversation. Most people are very ignorant with terms and with things that are offensive. And here's the thing. I see a lot of people in the comments saying, you know, well, Jess is right. Like, you know, only a naturally born woman has a uterus. Only a naturally born woman with a uterus can have a baby. And that is, in my opinion, that is the truth. Like, that is truly, truly, the truth. I think that there is oppression on both sides. And I think that, I don't know, it's such a sticky topic. Is there room in our current climate for trans women? And is it cis? Listen, I feel very bad because I don't even know what the terminology is, and I probably should have looked that up before I came on here, but I guess it's cis. What do you say? Cis women. And here's the thing. It's like, I don't want to be a cis woman. Like, and because like now I think about it, like, I don't want to be called a cis woman. And, you know, again, I say that I like to be an ally as far as I can be for the LGBTQ plus community. But I have to say that I'm not fully educated on all that comes with it. But I truly don't even want to be called a cis woman. I'm just a woman, honey. I'm just a woman that has a period every month and bleeds and I bear 2 children. I don't know. Like, I can understand the pressure on both sides. I can understand the pressure on both sides. But I feel like I have seen before some posts where Jess has said some sketchy things. But I have to say, you know, I truly believe that we're in a space now where everybody is just so hypersensitive. You get canceled if you breathe wrong. You get canceled. Everybody got pronouns. You know, on LinkedIn, they ask me what my pronoun is. When I'm applying for jobs, they ask me if I'm heterosexual, if I'm bisexual, if I'm transgender. It is a lot. And for people who do not understand that space, for people who are ignorant to that space, it is a lot. So, whereas if you take the Jess Hilarious out of it and just put the everyday average woman who maybe is trying to say the right thing, think the right thing, it is a lot for us to want to be fair, want to not say anything wrong, but also want to be fair to our own selves. Like, it's not fair for a naturally born woman, and I hope that that's not saying nothing wrong, but it's really not fair for us to negate the fact that we do have a uterus. We do have a period. We do walk through this world showing up as naturally born women. Now, that does not negate the fact that as a transgender woman, you do not have your own struggles, but we don't have to put the two against each other. Now, thinking about Jess's energy, I will say that if she has said things in the past that have been derogatory or just blatant ignorant against the LGBTQ plus community, then I can understand why she's getting this backlash, because her energy in this interview was very much, oh, I got a uterus, blah, 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 blah. You know, it was very much given that. Now, I think as a journalist, my true opinion is that, what do I know? But I feel like you have to remove biases. I would feel like if you're a journalist and like have those questions, and you know, if you think back, that's where Jess and Lauren have those, because you could see Jess maybe getting in her emotions, getting in her feelings during this space. Now, again, could it be because Jess Hilarious could pass for a transgender woman? She truly could. Like, she truly, truly could. And that is no shade. She has a very deep voice. She has a very masculine energy about her. So at the end of the day, Kevin got a point. So I don't know, it's a very, very loaded conversation. It's a very loaded conversation that most people feel uncomfortable talking about. But I have to double back on the fact that I don't want to have to answer to pronouns. I don't want to have to be called a cisgender woman. And I probably feel like that might not go well with the LGBTQ community, because I could be saying something wrong. But just as a regular, degular, everyday woman walking this earth, I'm not cis, I'm just a woman. Let's talk about a resolve for this, right? Let's talk about a resolve for this, because I feel like the conversation regarding cisgendered women versus transgender women is something that we hear about a lot. And just to provide a safe space, do we feel like a conversation is necessary? I do feel like education is necessary. I'm gonna tell you why. I watch a lot of podcasters who are, gay podcasters, and a lot of them are ignorant to some of the transgender do's and don'ts, some of the transgenders, ignorance and non-ignorance. Some of the transgenders, you can say this, you can't say that. So it's like, if your own community is confused, then you can't expect for us outside of the community to be fully educated on what to say, what not to say. But I do have to just point blank period understand where Jess Hilarious is coming from. I do have to understand where she was coming from. I do think her tone and her delivery was a little bit testy, which is what cause for the backlash. But if you ask me, I can't lie. At the end of the day, one thing I have learned about being in this whole YouTube space is that, unfortunately, sometimes you have to just, let me say this. Jess Hilarious could likely be saying and giving the energy that we all could possibly be thinking, but just out of respect for that community, we don't say it that way. But it's the same thing about how when white people go home, when that same white person on your job that you're buddy with and your sister child with, laughing and joking with, when they go home and they're with their community, they could be talking about nigger this, nigger that, black people this, black people that, making all types of inappropriate jokes when they're with their community. So I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand here. Okay. I think that we just need to be more educated on the topic, or do we? Because at the end of the day, I don't care what you are. I love you regardless. Who you sleep with, what you got between your legs is none of my concern. Now, on the same token, just to be respectful, I think that transgender, gay, homosexual, especially in the Black community, they go through a whole lot. They have a very high suicide rate. I think that they are ousted by their community, especially within the Black community. I think that they are targets for being just who they are. But honestly, so are Black people. So are Black women. So I don't know. I think it might take just a very educated conversation for us to come together and kind of understand. But ultimately, I can clearly say that I don't want you to call me a cisgendered woman. I want you to call me a woman, period, point blank. And for my trans sisters out there, if you feel like you're a woman and you're walking in that space, you're not transgender. You're just a woman. But because you are claiming yourself as a woman, you can't really have kids. So you don't really have a uterus. So, I don't know. It's just so much. Like, I don't know. It's just too much, child. In a world where eggs are $1,000 a carton, whether you got a penis or not, or whether you have a uterus or not, ain't my concern. And there's bigger damn fish to fry. But I do think ultimately that we have to be respectful of each other. And I think that Jess may have missed the mark a little bit with her energy towards that lady. And she gave it right back. I don't know. Listen, y'all, let me know what you think. What's just right? What's just wrong? Are you cis? Are you not? I don't know, but I don't want to be a cis because I don't know what that means. I just want to be a woman. I don't know. Ain't I a woman? Ain't that what Maya Angelou said? Ain't I a woman? I don't know, y'all. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next episode.